Number one, we have to make sure that in the process of this, that we are making sure that the dog understands the concept and where you are at before we move on.
Time again for Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, owner of Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. It's the show that delves into the training, socializing, behavior, nutrition, and wellness of your dog. And brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard, with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And we're back with the trainer, Ian Grant, and this week we're going to increase your dog skills. So that is working with your dog on certain things that they need to work on?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good time. It's like a training session then, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times people will know that their dog has certain skills and they can do this and that, but they always wonder, how do I progress this? And how do I make it so the dog can put, 12 steps together and it can do it 12 steps in a row and get to that point.
You're never satisfied with what they do. You want them to improve.
Always want more.
Always want more.
Yeah. So let's take an easy skill here. Like, let's just maybe say a stay command. Just, we're going to put a dog on a bed or their own bed and just kind of work on stay. Number one, we have to make sure that in the process of this, that we are making sure that the dog understands the concept and where you are at before we move on. Meaning, we have to make sure we can get 5 feet away and return to the dog without the dog getting up out of the bed. Do that a few times. Then we go to 10 feet or 15 feet, repeat that a few times, so that this way the dog can see a pattern of, wow, so if I stay here and every time you come back to me, maybe you give me a treat or a pat on the head or some sort of reinforcement that it's a good thing for me to stay here. So for right now, if you can not go out of sight, putting your dog into a stay, let's work up to that. But instead of going around the corner out of sight for 30 seconds and hoping your dog stays, let's just go out of sight momentarily and then come back. So the dog sees, wow, you disappeared and came right back. Okay, that's no problem. So it's important that the mistake that we do, and you've probably heard me say this in the past, we just go too far too fast. Meaning we put our dog into a stay, I'm just going to walk out the door for 10 minutes and let's see if...
Good luck.
Yeah. See if the dog is still there when I come back in.
Still in the building.
Yes. It doesn't work that way, and that's when we go too far too fast. So it's really important to create a pattern first for the dog to understand. And once that pattern has been created, then you can build on it, whether it's a stay command or a sit command or whatever it is that you want to create.
All right, so let me just back up for a second here. So is this the first time we teach them how to sit, or is this a refresher that we've already taught them and now we're going over it again?
Well, I think it's going to be different for each. I mean, let's say, you can go home and you can put Tika into a stay and you're very confident that you can get 30 feet away from her and she won't budge. Great. So that's going to be your personal starting point from there. If you want a couple of refreshers just to kind of get the brain warmed up a little bit, then so be it. I think that's, a good way to look at it. But if you know, again, that she's really good at 30 feet, we don't start at 50 because we're kind of setting our dog up to fail. In that way. When we go too far too fast, we're setting them up to fail. Because then what happens is if, going back to if you start out by going out of sight and you come back and the dog's moved, what are you going to do? Put the dog back. Then you go back out of sight and the dog gets back up out of the bed and you have to put it back. So we're not really setting the dog up to succeed, and they don't have a full understanding of what we are doing. And it's no different than walking your dog. Sometimes you have to just start walking them on leash in the house to start with and building on those skills. And eventually the driveway or just on the street outside your house and just, incrementally increasing it. But, we don't always want to remain status quo.
Yeah. Now, once we've taught them how to do it initially, like say when they're a puppy and then you continue to go over it. Now, when they're later, like Tika's age, 11, when you're going over it again, do you change the parameters on where you're starting from? I mean, obviously they have already been through it for 11 years.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a refresher like this, so how do you approach that?
You can start the refresher the same way. Start with just a minimal distance that that she won't get up with. But if if she's really good at it, and at this age they probably have a pretty good understanding of it, then change environments.
Yeah,
you could do it outside, and if you're concerned, if you're not fenced in or whatever, you can always tether your dog to something, and just make sure that they don't reach the end of the tether of the leash. That they, whatever spot you give them, they stay on. So now you can work on distance, and this is how people are able to put their dog into a stay and get 100 yards away, 200 yards away, and the dog has not budged. So they just take this process to the nth degree, and they just keep creating these patterns that no matter what, the dog has to stay.
Now, since they have already mastered it, you can never retrain them, or you can never go over it enough then.
No, to me, it's kind of like recall. Are we ever really done teaching our dog to come to us when we call them?
Once they've done it once, you're not satisfied because you know that, you have to keep refreshing them.
Yeah, and then it could be adding in distractions too.
Yeah. Well, distractions are not difficult for Tika, that's for sure. She does seem to find them.
Yes.
All right, back with our question from the doggy bag in just a moment here on Talking Dogs.
Hey there, dog lovers. Get ready to mark a special date on your calendar, October 5th to the 7th. Right here in the heart of Vermont during the breathtaking foliage season, I'm thrilled to invite you to the Canine Fusion Workshop. We're diving into the art of assessments, the joy of playful interactions, and the exhilaration of canicross. No matter your role in the world of dogs, this workshop is designed for all of us who cherish our canine companions. Join me in a passionate community of dog enthusiasts for an immersive experience of learning, connection, and growth. And here's the best part. Your experience will be complemented by the beauty of Vermont's foliage season. And did I mention that we've got your meals covered? Lunch, coffee, and snacks are all included. Reserve your spot now by visiting our website, vermontdogboardingandbehavior.com/workshop. Let's fuse the magic of training, play, and canicross into an unforgettable experience. See you on October 5th. Roaming is a Los Angeles-based premium lifestyle brand that is motivated by nature. Roaming features high-quality, earth-friendly dog products made from renewable and natural materials like their bio-based and 100% compostable biodegradable dog poop bags. These bags really are awesome. I've been using their bags for a few months now, and I love the durability, the way they feel, and the fact that they are good for the earth. They also have a special discount for our listeners. Use code VermontDog to get 20% off your first purchase, including 20% off the first 3 orders if you sign up for one of their poop bag subscriptions. They also have some beautiful leather leashes made right here in the USA. You can check them out at roaming.com. That's ROMNG.com.
Back to Talking Dogs with Ian Grant from Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive, Hyde Park. For more information about his facility and programs, go to vermontdogboardingandbehavior.com. The question this morning, Ian, is I've read that rawhides aren't good for dogs. Should I stop giving one to my dog? Kind of heard both sides of the equation on the rawhide. So where do you sit on it?
This is probably one of, if not the worst dog chews to give to your dog, just because the majority of them have been treated with chemicals to get them to be the white color. There's just so many bad things that come out of them. Plus, when they chew on them, they can create those sharp edges. And then when it goes into their stomach, now we're talking about bad things that happen on the inside. I'm a part of this dog nutrition page that it was probably a month or so ago that they wrote that if you give one of these rawhides to your dogs every day, you're increasing their risk by over 100% of gut destruction of some point later in their life.
Wow.
So to me, that's enough to say, I don't think we need to go down this road.
Yeah, so how do companies promote that they're good for them then?
I mean, there's a lot of fast food restaurants that promote their food too.
Yeah, so is that where we're putting rawhides in the fast food category?
I would probably yes, that's probably a good way to put it, and maybe even worse. So my answer is yes, please stop giving these to your dogs. There's much better things out there.
For example, why not? So mention a couple of things that you'd rather see them have.
How about a frozen carrot?
Yeah, and it's good for them.
And it's good for them.
Yeah.
And we're getting into the summer months now, so it's going to be warmer.
Yeah.
You can give that to your dog outside. There's nothing detrimental about it. Just make sure that it's large enough not for them to swallow whole, but they're going to probably chew on that anyways. Kongs are always a good thing. Any food that you can freeze, it will last a lot longer, especially for puppies too. So anything along those lines, but you can fill a Kong with some peanut butter or yogurt, throw in some of their kibble, something along those lines that they can just kind of gnaw on for a little while. If your dog is more of an adult dog, antlers are actually very good for them to chew on.
Antlers?
Yeah, they love them. And actually, Guys sells a bunch of them, too.
Guys Farming Yard sells antlers without the deer.
Yes, yes, thankfully.
for your yes, for your dogs to chew on. Yeah, you don't want them chewing on the whole deer.
No. So there are a lot of products out there that are very good for our dogs, for sure.
If you have a question for Ian, you can email him directly to info@VermontDogBoardingAndBehavior.com. Next week, give your dog a reason to follow your lead. All right, so trying to keep your dog active, is that what it is?
Not only more mentally, I think there's a lot of us that tend to get checked out when we're trying to work with our dog and we're not focused. We might be on our phone or something like that. So this will be a good show to kind of describe what we need to be doing with our dogs.
On Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, brought to you by Guys Farming Yard with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And for the trainer Ian Grant, I'm Roland LaJoy, and we are Talking Dogs.